Welcome to Elevated, a place where the mystical meets the everyday. I am Dawn, a stay-at-home mom to a wild and spirited boy, and a guide in the realms of Reiki, Akashic Records, natural healing, and soulful living. Here, we'll talk energy, intuition, spirituality, but also the realness of motherhood, wellness, and creating balance in the chaos of it all. So grab your tea, take a deep breath, and join me as we explore healing, alignment, and the beauty of both the magical and the messy. Welcome to Elevated. Welcome to Elevated. I am Dawn. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing wonderful. I'm having a wonderful, wonderful day. I've been deep cleaning my house for the past 3 days, one room at a time. Like, we're taking our time deep cleaning here, but the rooms that I've done, it's amazing how great the energy in those rooms feel. I'm telling you, I like clean. I really, really do. It makes me happier. When things are clean, my soul is happy. When things are organized, yes, I have a solar plex chakra gift, and that is one of the things. Organization makes me happy. Before we get into today's podcast topic, because I do have a guest today and I'm so excited, but before I even announce who it is and get into any of that, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Facebook at either Elevated Soul Healing or Elevated. You can connect with me on Instagram at Elevated Soul Healing or Elevated Pod. You can always go to my website, which is elevatedsoulhealing.com, and I will link all of that in the show notes as well for you. On my website, you can book with me if you want to have a Reiki appointment done or a bar session done or even a Akashic Records reading. I am still working on my practicum for my Earth Mysteries School Akashic Records reads, so I'm not offering those yet. Those will be coming, and once I'm done my practicum, they are taking a long time. There's just so much information to know. It was a 6-month course, so there is a lot of information that I need to go through, and I really want to be confident before I just start offering and having people pay for it. I did do a card pull for today, so I think it's something that I might start doing. I don't know if I want to do them in the beginning of the podcast or at the end, but this one's just so fitting. As I was going through and editing the podcast with my guest, I was like, this card's perfect. So when I was shuffling the cards today, I was asking, what do my listeners need to hear? And I use the Soul Helper Oracle deck by Christine Ariana Fader. This deck is just so beautifully illustrated. I got this deck shortly after my son was born. I love it. I will post the card on Instagram. The card that we got today is number 37, and it is a message is trying to reach you. Be vigilant. The spirit world wishes to find and touch you. You know what is so funny is today we had a movie night and I just randomly went on my phone, and 6 years ago, don't ask me why today, 6 years ago, I posted pictures of my brother, just random pictures of my brother that has passed. And there he was. And I was like, what? So I was like, after the movie night, I just thanked him. I was like, thank you for being a part of our movie night with us. So maybe that was the message. But I do find too, as I was editing this podcast, there's a lot of just little bits of information that you can take away that maybe it's something that you needed to hear. We just have a really great conversation about so many things, but I will read what the actual card meaning is. So a message is trying to reach you. Be vigilant. The spirit world wishes to find you and touch you. Get in touch with your feelings and emotions. A message from the spirit world is trying to find its way to you. You are much too busy with worldly things and with yourself just now. They distract and preoccupy you so much that you are failing to take notice of the message. Cleanse yourself, let go of your fears for the future, and give expressions to your desires and dreams, perhaps by writing them down, portraying them in a picture or collage, or telling your friends about them. Feel free to use modern technology such as social media if you like. Be vigilant and prepared. Have an open and receptive heart, since this is where you will receive the message. It will flow like a golden light to the center of your heart, into the sacred space of your truth. Leave your worldly troubles behind so that the Great Spirit can touch you. The message will be about fulfillment and truth. The power animal is raven. Your herbal essence oil is going to be lemon. The healing crystal is magnetite. And the number is 1. Interesting. I love it. And as I was reading that too, I'm like, oh, I've been so busy house cleaning that I'm probably not listening to the messages that I need to. And I should have probably just gone outside and gone for a 45-minute walk today, and maybe a message would have came through. I do find though, walking with the toddler is not always quiet. So it's very hard still to get messages. I am trying to ask though for messages in my dreams and then for me to remember them so that I can have them in the morning. I want to thank you for listening to that. Let's get into today's episode. I sat down and talked with Katie Bell from Balanced Living Holistic Care in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And we talked about access bars, BodyTalk, Reiki, sound healing, motherhood, and everyday life. We talked about living in survival mode and living in the world as we know it today and how to navigate through it all. I did not know who Katie was before I sat down with her. I had the most wonderful conversation with her. I learned so much. She is such a beautiful soul and gem. She's so easy to talk to. The conversation just flowed very naturally between us. It was an amazing time to sit down and just get to pick her brain on different things. So she does access bars, she does Reiki, she does body healing, she does sound healing as well. She works on, I believe, your lymphatic system as well. She works on getting you out of survival mode. Like all this beautiful stuff is what she does. And it was just great to sit down and talk to somebody about this. So without further ado, we are going to start the interview with Katie Bell. Welcome, Katie. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm looking forward to connecting with you and seeing where this hour takes us.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I'm curious, what first called you into this work and how did your journey into holistic healing begin?
Yes, I have always been really open to different ways of healing and health. I came from a family where we took supplements and did reflexology and things like that, but really my entrance into this world came after a car accident. I rolled my car coming home from the lake in a winter storm, and I went through the whole system. I did the physio. I did really what it was. I had a really bad concussion. I did the physio. I was at the neurologist, the dizzy specialist, all the things, and I would go through their protocols and be fine at the end of it, but I wasn't fine. And I would always get these rush of symptoms that would come back, and it made no sense from a medical standpoint, and they were just as puzzled as I was. And after a while, you just kind of give up. You don't know what to do. You've tried everything. And so it was over a year on that journey, and I was in a massage clinic, and I was flipping through the Whole Life magazine that was there, and I saw this tiny little blurb about BodyTalk, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to try it. I'll try anything at this point. I just want to feel like myself again. And I booked an appointment, and that was it. It was like it was like 800 pounds was lifted off my shoulders from this car accident, and it released the same emotions of the day I was in that car accident. So all my symptoms would come back when I was feeling really similar emotions to that day. And so that was the cycle I kept looping in. And it was the release of those emotions that released all the concussion symptoms for me. And so from that moment on, I'm like, I need to learn everything.
I love BodyTalk. I go to a BodyTalk practitioner here in Regina, and it is amazing what he can actually do. It really honestly is. So yeah.
It always fascinates me. Like every session is completely different, and every practitioner works in a slightly different way. And I think that is one of the coolest things about BodyTalk. It gives you this incredible framework, and then you can really make it your own based on your own knowledge and your own experience. And yeah, I love that aspect of it.
So BodyTalk isn't all that you do. You do a lot more, don't you?
Yes. So BodyTalk was just the first thing that I started to study, and it was from there in those classes that I learned about different modalities, so like access consciousness and conscious dance like chakra dance, and it just kind of kept building from there. And there's really incredible offshoots from BodyTalk like AcuNet and HelioSoul that came from different instructors within the BodyTalk system. And yeah, I just keep layering the knowledge up, and the sessions just keep evolving from there.
Was there a moment in your life where you realized that body holds more than just physical symptoms?
Yeah, and I mean, I always knew it, but I could never really put into words until that first body talk experience. I danced growing up, and I love what music can do to the body, and always have loved how powerful music is in facilitating emotion. You know, you play a certain song and you feel a certain way. You play another song and it releases something. I've always known that, and I've always been drawn to sound and music in that regard, but it wasn't until I came to Body Talk that it became really obvious that what I was sensing was actually true.
And how would you describe what you do to someone who has never experienced energy healing before? I find this so hard to tell people if they don't have an idea.
I know, and it is hard because I think every one of us experiences it totally different. So when I show up for a session for myself, it's going to feel a lot different than, say, when you show up for a session. And it kind of depends what we're each wanting and what our goals are. And so I think first and foremost is when you come into a session with me is I listen to you. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, how many of us go to different appointments and we don't actually feel heard? We just feel funneled into a system and a protocol. And that's the first thing with a healing session. It's like you are being listened to. You're being acknowledged. And I know a lot of people, they come in and they, first of all, they apologize. They're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is going to sound so crazy and wild." And it's like, no, it's all normal. It's all good. Like, I'm here to listen to whatever it is that you think is crazy that no one else could understand. Like, I'm here for it. Like, let's do the thing that you think is outlandish. Like, yes. The next part is that I really tap into your energy. And I listen to what your body is telling me, not just your words, but what your body is telling me. And when a client comes into a session, it is such a wonderful treat when they're just like, do your thing, whatever it is. And you get to just go with the flow of the session. And sometimes that looks more like me channeling energy for you, for your body to relax. Sometimes it's me listening to what your body is saying it needs and making those connections. So it can look different for every session. But quite often people on the table, I view it as a scale. You either feel like you drank a pot of coffee or you're going to be conked out. And that's kind of like where the scale is when you're coming in for a session. Usually when you sit up, it's kind of like a rush of what my first session was like, where you just feel that weight coming off and you can see clearer. Colors look different, sounds sound different, and you can really hear your inner voice much stronger. And depending on the session, aches and pains melt away, they ease because you're holding on to that stress, and that's what relaxes and melts away.
When clients come in with an intention, do you find that the session is as healing as if they just kind of come in free of the intention or like just do whatever works best?
Yeah, I like when they come in with some sort of intention, like something's a priority in their life. Now, when we do the session, it might not always seem like that's what we're addressing, but it is because now we're addressing the underneath layers of it. But I love it when it's like, you know what, my business is a hot mess. I don't know what's going on, or I feel like I'm spiraling over here, or I'm just so irritated that my neck is hurting. Like when they come in with some sort of intention that we can kind of hook onto, I love that. But I also love it when they give me full permission to be like, you do whatever modality you want to do and you just let it flow. And then that's when you can kind of weave in between different things and just take it wherever you want it to go.
Right. And you do offer a mix of modalities like the access bars, body talk, Reiki, lymphatic work, and sound
Yes.
healing. Do you intuitively know what the client needs and go that way?
Yeah, so quite often when they're speaking to me, certain words just start screaming in my head. I'm very auditory, and the word starts screaming, like we're starting with body talk, or we're starting with like a body process from access consciousness. So those words are screaming to me as they talk. And the more they talk, it's the more the session begins to unfold before they even get on the table, to be quite honest. But yeah, for me, it's just like something screaming in my brain, what we need to be addressing and focusing on in the priority.
And then, so for someone who is brand new, what does a typical session with you look or feel like? So if I was, because I've never been to you, what should I be expecting when I get there?
Yes. So first we do a little conversation first and get to know each other. They tell me what they're coming in for, and then from there, depending on what's screaming at me, is kind of where the session goes. So they get on the table, they get comfortable, pillows. I have a really thick memory foam mattress that when I was pregnant, I used to take lots of naps on. Get some blankets on, make sure they're warm and cozy, and then depending if it's more of maybe like an access consciousness sort of type of session with body processes or the bars that's going to be more silent. And I let them know that. And I let them know like you're free to small talk if that's what you're comfortable with, but by no means feel like you have to. And then if it's more of a body talk way that we're going into, I hold onto their arm or their hand kind of depending on really their vibe. And there's no right or wrong. It doesn't mean anything. It just wherever my hand feels that point of contact needs to be. And we build that connection and then they'll hear me speak things. And what we're doing is we're making connections in the body, in the energetic body. And so the body knows to like, look at this. This is what we're reconnecting. This is what we want to heal. In those types of sessions, quite often sound is involved. We'll do part of a body talk formula. So you'll hear me talk for a little bit, and then there'll be a sound piece to help integrate and implement the session. And we kind of weave back and forth like that. So that's quite often how my free flow sessions work, is doing a little talk sound, doing a little talk sound, and kind of going back and forth depending on what's coming up.
You just said a free flow session. So can someone just come in and book in just for body talk or just for Reiki, something like that, and you'll just work that way?
Yes, if they're coming in and they want a specific modality, I will 100% always respect that and honor that, because I think it's amazing when people have a voice they feel comfortable using, and I want to make sure that we really practice that in our society. So if they want a bar session, 100% get on the table, let's do a bar session. If you want a Reiki session, get on the table, let's do a Reiki session for an hour. I never find that it changes the quality of the session. It just looks different based on what that person wants.
That's interesting. I haven't known anyone to do so many different modalities. So I always think when you have that many different modalities, do they kind of just flow in? So you start with Reiki, and then sometimes it's like, oh, there's a little bit of body talk coming in or a little bit of access kind of coming in, but it's still sort of based on Reiki, I guess, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is for me. And I've actually stopped really advertising the separate modalities as much because it's confusing. And a lot of people book with you, it's not about the modality, it's about how they're feeling. And so it didn't really matter what modality I was presenting. It's like, I'm just here for you and your wellness journey. So I kind of stopped really breaking them down for people. And when they come in, I ask them, it's like, do you need silence today or do you want me to speak to you? And sometimes that really guides where we're going with the session because we're so used to noise. And sometimes people just need silence, and I want to honor that for them. So that's usually how I speak to people in my office too when they come in and they're like, I don't know what modality, I know you do lots. I'm like, that's okay. Do you need a quiet session?
That is a really great way of putting it too, because I know in Body Talk, my Body Talk practitioner will talk a little bit and then almost like mumbling more to himself to try and connect whatever we're doing. And then there is always a piece where him and I can talk if we need to. But otherwise, I know when I'm doing Reiki and I'm on the table, I don't want anyone talking to me. Like, I just want to kind of go into my world, go see my things that I'm going to see, and have that hour of complete silence. And I had one Reiki practitioner that did talk, and I was like, this is too weird for me. I don't know if I liked it because I felt like I couldn't relax enough.
Yeah, you feel like you still have to be on a little bit, right? And when you book that hour, it's such a precious hour. Like a lot of us don't have this extra hour in our day. And then you get there and you're excited to, it's kind of like when a massage therapist talks to you, right? And you're like, oh, I was so happy to relax. Yes, and I'm a sleeper. So if you're talking to me on the table, I'm a little bit irritated because I really wanted to sleep.
Can you explain how something like access bars actually shifts thoughts or beliefs or emotions in the body?
Yeah, it's really interesting. They've actually done scans on the brain, people before getting their bars run versus people during and afterwards. And it has the same effect of meditating. And so you're really bringing down the stress response in the body. And by bringing down the stress response in the body, you're able to heal different things and let go of different things. When you're getting a session done, you're actually down so you can release these things. And then the thing that was bugging you before when you came in, so say like you had a fight with someone before, it's like, oh, you can actually breathe and see it clear. And I always think it's like whenever I get a session done, it's like scooping things from my mind. That's what it feels like. You're just getting a big scoop. And that scoop comes in and it's all of a sudden you can see with clarity, or your creativity just flies off the chart because you don't have all this crap bogging you down. It's like a garbage dump system.
Are you able to do access bars distantly?
That's an interesting question. So, and it's always one that I get a lot of questions about. They teach it no, because they believe so strongly that our bodies lack touch. And touch is a really important healing component. I learned energy healing based in BodyTalk, so I know everything does work through distance. So yes, access says no, but it's more so because we need touch. But if I'm being really honest, it 100% works distance. I could literally be using a teddy bear running someone's bars, they're on the Zoom screen and they're passed out. I've done it.
I have my access bars. I don't do a lot of it, but I took it and my mom has it and she said she used to do it distantly to myself. And I was like, well, you can't. And then I have my Reiki and we do everything distantly. Well, not everything, but I do a lot of distance. And I was like, but if I can do Reiki distantly and I know we can do BodyTalk distantly, because I've had that, I was like, you got to be able to do access different distantly too. So I always ask that to people because some really don't believe that you can. And I understand the touch portion of it. I do think that is good because we don't get enough touch. But yeah, I do believe that our energetic system is everywhere and we should be able to do it energetically. So that's
Yeah.
that's
And even
interesting.
them, they teach like when you expand yourself, and they teach this whole concept of expanding your energy and flowing it outwards to like the ends of the universe. And it's like, I can touch that from here then.
Right.
If you're an infinite being and you're not contained just to a body, I can still touch your energy anywhere in the world. And so I understand their perspective on touch, but I also know that distance and all of that is magical. So when I used to facilitate the classes, I always used to say that I'm like, this is the access line, but if you know how to do distance work, you do what you need to do.
Perfect. And then Body Talk works a lot with the mind and body connection. So what are some surprising things that you've seen the body actually reveal?
It's interesting. And I don't know if I've ever really been like surprised necessarily, but it's more validating. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like even I was thinking of like that whole pain in the neck thing. It's like how many people are just like constantly rubbing their neck? Like you see them out in public and it's like, who are you
Yeah.
frustrated with? Like who are you frustrated with? Who's the pain in your neck? Who is the pain in your neck? Right? And it's like all these sayings that we say all the time, they're real. We just implant that in our bodies. And it's like, elbows up. Why are you fighting all the time? Why do you have to be in fight mode? And it's interesting. So it's like every single session, it's like people say something, you're like 45 minutes, we're gonna come back to that. Like it's coming. And so it's the interesting part is like how much what we say is actually giving clues to what's going on in our body. The things
Right.
you're saying every day, all day, that's what's happening in your body. So when you start changing your language, you're going to start changing the things that's going on in your body.
Yeah, I guess it's no different than if you're feeling sick and you're like, oh, I'm sick. And then you end up actually getting sick. So you are almost manifesting that. I can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like we just keep layering and stacking and layering and stacking, and then we collect more things to prove that belief system to be true. I mean, it's just like the people who always say that life is really hard. Yeah, life's going to be really hard, and you're going to keep looking for the situations where life is really hard, and you're going to miss everything else around you.
Right.
So, and then the other stuff that's always really interesting, because like I don't know these people, and you find things from their childhood, and they're like, whoa, and it's like, oh, did I get it? It's like, and it's fascinating because they don't even realize the connection of what happened in their childhood to now all of a sudden you're an adult and this is how you respond to situations. And it's like you were never taught that it was safe to respond or safe to speak up or safe to be noticed or whatever it is when you were a kid. And now all of a sudden you're an adult and you're still functioning like that.
Body Talk help with stuttering for someone?
Yes,
Yes.
it definitely can. It might be one, like it depends on the person. Sometimes it's the things that happen really quick, they unfold depending on what is all going on, the layers, and how willing you are to release. Some people's healing journey is a little bit slower. And that's not for better or for worse. It doesn't really matter, but it can help the stuttering, yes.
Cool. My little 4-year-old is starting to stutter really bad, and I don't know why. And so I brought out the book, How to Heal Your Body. And it's basically like he's not being listened to, which I feel like we do listen to him. And he's really having a hard time with me all of a sudden. And he's never had a problem with me before. And it just came
Yeah.
on this last week. And he's like, me, 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 me. Like anything that he's trying to say with me in it, he just can't seem to get out. And I was like, this is so weird for him. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
validate him now. And if he is stuttering, I've had a habit my whole life of finishing people's sentences. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here and be patient and like let you finish your sentence so you feel like you're being heard. But yeah, I don't know. I'm worried that it might develop into a constant stutter and not just a developmental 4-year-old thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think stutters could be from a lot of different things. Like, where do you feel like you have a voice? Where do you feel like you have a say? Are you confident in your own worth, your own sense of self, your like all those things that you're communicating about you, the person. So it's kind of interesting, the stutter conversation, because
Hmm.
it could be a lot of different things. But yeah,
I
all in that
know.
realm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even anything like I always feel with like when parents come to see me and it's like nothing about this conversation is ever about you being a bad parent. It's like how people interpret and internalize what they're hearing, whether the intention was there or not. And it's every single parent, and I say this very lightly, kind of screws up their kids a bit. You're doing the best you can, and then your child interprets it and makes their own belief system about it, which may or may not make any sense. And that's just what it is. And it could be something on TV, it could be you, it could be someone else, it could be the radio, it could be a song that they all of a sudden heard a lyric to differently, and all of a sudden it just gets twisted.
Yes, my body talk practitioner too. He had said once to me, because I was always worried about being a good mom. And he goes, here's a story for you. He goes, I don't know if it was him and his brothers, but there was a couple of boys and they were going tobogganing and the mom was taking them down the hill and she'd be like, wee! And the one boy thought it was great. And the other boy thought that they were literally going to like get into an accident, hurt themselves. So as they got older, she's like, wasn't that a great time? And he's like, no, I hated it. And she's like, what do you mean? And then he explained it and he goes, it's all perspective. So I never look now at being the perfect parent because I know I'll never be the perfect parent. And
Yeah.
he's going to pick up on things no matter what and have those limiting beliefs because just like you said, right? It could be picked up from a song or something we said and it's just all perspective.
Yeah. And I mean, his like and your kids have different experiences in your womb. They have different experiences during their birth journeys. Like all these things add up to create what their experiences are later on in life. And it may look like both kids had the same upbringing, but they're totally different
Yes.
based on these like tiny, just tiny subtle differences. And all of a sudden they see things totally different. Like maybe they were really cold as a baby, and now this whole temperature thing really affects who they are as a person, even though they did the same thing as their sibling.
Right. And I could see that. It is good to know that it is hard as a parent to go into somewhere and be like, I'm doing this wrong, or how can we fix our kids? But we do need to know that it has nothing to do with us as parents, but to still help that child. Like, obviously, there's something going on and they have their own blocks, and that children can be worked on. I think a lot of times parents forget that we can work on our children to help them so they don't have to go through all these hard times either.
Yeah, like it's so interesting. My kids respond to sessions very differently. Like my older one, he just turned 4 a couple months ago. And when he was a baby, like he soaked up energy. Like he wanted Reiki every single day. Like it was just like every nap, it was just like a sponge and he just wanted it. And my second one, who's turning 3 in a couple weeks, he didn't want it. He was very hesitant, but he loves it when other people work on him. And I think that's really funny. And it's like, try not to take it personal, but you're like, I could do it too, but that's okay.
Yeah, my son always looks at our body talk practitioner like, I don't know. I don't know about you. Like, he likes him, but at the same time, he's like, I don't know if I like what you're doing. And the other day, too, I asked him, I said, hey, do you want to go downstairs and I'll do some Reiki on you? He's like, yeah. And then we were like getting ready. He's like, no, I don't want Reiki. I was like, okay. But then there's the odd time, when he is having his tantrum, he's just like, I'm quietly going to do some Reiki on you to calm you down.
Yes, if the nap avoidance comes in, it's like, okay, let's flow some energy to you for the nap avoidant time.
Yes, exactly. You talk about regulation and getting out of survival mode on your website. What does that actually mean in everyday life?
Yeah, like survival mode, I mean, it's such a trend kind of phrase right now, right? And
Yes.
for me, survival mode is the things we do to protect ourselves because we're hurt and we're wounded. And it's what can we do to get out of that? So where are those wounds? Where are we hypervigilant? Where are we overly stressed, overly taxed? And it's getting us out of that holding our breath state and giving ourselves some moments where we don't need to be like that. We don't feel like we need to protect ourselves at all times. We giving ourselves the safety just to be, even if it's for a few minutes a day. And there's lots of studies done out there about the benefits of just being in a safe meditative state for even 10 minutes a day, like a few times a week, the benefits long term to your health, what that actually does. So it's not to say that like your nervous system isn't going to do the roller coaster all day, but it's giving yourself some time to actually consciously choose it. And so over time, the more you choose it, you build this muscle. You build awareness of like when you're in it, when you're out of it, how you respond in it, how you respond out of it. And it just gives you more choice. It gives you more awareness about how you're functioning. So when you are present with a situation, you can be like, yeah, I know I'm acting out not the way I want to, but I'm now aware of it and I can choose to get out of it quicker.
What would you suggest is a good way for people, everyday people, to be able to get out of that survival state?
Yeah, and I think this is the important conversation. Like, you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to know all the woo woo. Like, you don't need to know the terminology, anything like that. And that's a huge thing that I want to bring forth more in my business. Like, it should be accessible in terms of like language and things like that. Like, there shouldn't be a gate that you need to know X, Y, and Z in order to get it and achieve it. It's really about just finding some space in your day 5-10 minutes. That's all you need. Whether it's you put on some good frequency music and you just like breathe and go inside and just feel, whether you're purposely choosing a meditation, whether you're journaling, just something for like 10 minutes a day, just to block out all the noise and come back to yourself, whatever that may look like. And some people like writing, some people like music, some people like silence, whatever it may be for you, make it work for you. And maybe it's coloring, maybe it's art, something that just allows you to let go of this outside world.
Today we went outside and it was snowing a little bit, and I just laid on the ground and just felt like the cold ground on my back. And we made snow angels. I was like, this is so nice. And I don't remember when I've done this last. And it was just nice for the first time in so long to connect into my body, because I've been busy. I have a couple of courses that I've been doing, and just motherhood as well, and being a stay-at-home mom. It is hard. Like, it is very, very stressful. And I was like, I need to start doing this more often, because I know that I'm, my cortisol's right up, and I know I'm always in survival mode. And I was like, just find some time that you can do something like this. And it was nice. And then my son just kind of laid down too. And I'm like, he needs it too, really. And I have to show him how to do this. So
that's the beauty of nature. It just holds you. It holds you in such a special way. And it's hard here in Canada. I mean, I find it so cute when influencers are like, oh, just put your feet in the grass. I'm like, not today.
can't even find the grass.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I was like, I'll jump in the snow, but I don't think it's going to have the same effect for me. But and like it's funny that I mentioned the whole cold thing at birth. Like I was born and it was a heat wave, and like in the 80s there wasn't air conditioning. So like I was born, it was like 35 degrees, and like I slept in a diaper in the basement for the first week because it was so hot. And it's like, oh, is that why I hate the heat? Like
Probably.
probably.
Yes, exactly.
Look at us doing body talk here.
Why do you think so many people today are stuck in stress or overwhelm or burnout?
I mean, nothing turns off. Nothing turns off. Like we have our phones, the TV's 24/7. I mean, back in the day, it shut off at a certain time. You just saw lines on the TV. Life doesn't turn off anymore. And on top of that, everyone's showing you the highlight reel. So you're constantly comparing yourself. Like, let's talk about motherhood for a second. Who shows a video of the actual like trenches that you're going through?
No
And so
one
then
said 4 is bad. No one.
yeah, I mean, and I'm pulling from a conversation I had with a friend earlier today, and she's like, I totally hook, line, and sinker bought the my toddler's cuddling my newborn baby thing. No, not how it works. That is like 1% of the time. And my kids are 14 and a half months apart. That is not what it was like. It was terrifying having them in the same room. And like, but you don't see that.
No.
You don't see that. You see all these beautiful moments. And so it's like now we put so much pressure on ourselves to do more, have more, be more. The status, the this is what a mom has to be like, this is what a wife has to be like, this is what a friend, and it's just like so much pressure because we're constantly being bombarded with the highlight reel, and we think that's what life is.
I was talking to my husband about this too, and it was back in the 70s and 80s. Our parents only had other family members that have had children before to go to for advice and all of that. Maybe went to a library, got a book, but there wasn't a ton of books back then. And now it's like every time you go and you like search anything about motherhood, either you're being told you're a bad parent because, oh my gosh, you yelled at your child that day and you're going to destroy them, or you're seeing all the highlight reels and you're like, but I'm not doing that. I can't get that. Like I've been in survival mode for 4 years because I don't know how to get out. I'm just like, this is crazy. Like no one tells you that this is reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like, even when you look back before the internet and you were doing your thing, you didn't know there was another option. And so you were kind of happy because you didn't know. You didn't
Yeah.
know that women were doing different things. There was nothing to compare you to. And so you were happy with your life. Like, how many women were much happier when they didn't know, oh, you could be an influencer, you can make side income, you could have like your own career, you get to have your own, like, when you didn't know that, there was nothing to say that life could be better. This was better.
Yes.
And it's like all that added stress. But yeah, the motherhood conversation's huge. I have that a lot in the office.
I actually started putting my phone on do not disturb all day because I found even people texting me during the day was just too much for me. Like I couldn't handle my son and what his needs were and then other people's needs. I was like, it's just too much. And now at night before I go to sleep, I actually turn my phone right off. And it is so nice that I'm like, I don't have to worry about it. And I never have the TV on and I don't have background noise because I can't handle it. I like quiet and calm, and he's noisy enough to like make it overwhelming for me. But it's just something like I look at someone and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you have like some cartoon playing in the background, your kid yelling and screaming, they're throwing stuff? I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do it.
Like, sometimes it's like, I mean, yeah, I'm a mom of two boys, 3 and 4. It's like you accidentally yell sometimes and you're like, I'm not even yelling at you. I just like heard two things at once. And it's like, I'm yelling stop because I need just one less noise. You know, it's
Yeah.
not even about you. It's like, I just need one less noise.
I tell my son all the time, I'm like, okay, I'm like, mom is feeling overwhelmed right now. And we just need to like bring it down just a little bit
Yeah.
because they are.
Yeah,
They're crazy. Boys are just a totally different breed.
totally.
They are running, yelling, jumping. I'm just like, I can't.
I am wired to respond to your yelling. I'm wired to think that your screaming is something like you're being hurt. Like,
Yes,
I need to address it.
exactly.
Yeah.
How do stored emotions show up physically in the body?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So if we look at it from a body talk perspective, your diaphragm is where all your emotions go to be processed. And so there's different things that can happen from there. So they can go there and then you just process them out of the intestines or through your tears out the body. Perfect. Perfect. That's great. Or they can hang out in there, get stuck, cause a lot of jamming issues, you're holding things on. Or they're like, I don't know what to do with this, and it starts depositing them in different spots in your body. And all of a sudden, you get a knee pain that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, how much emotion have you shoved in your knee?
I see. So if you have digestive issues, would that be stored emotions that aren't getting out?
Yeah, so digestive issues can be stored emotions that aren't getting out, but you can also look at them like that's how we process life, that's how we process information. It has a lot to do with control. So if you are feeling like you have absolutely no control, if you are just gripping on and having too much control, it can show up, that can really affect it as well. Maybe you're having a hard time breaking down some of the information that you're receiving in life or some of the emotion in life. So, I mean, a lot of people get diarrhea when they're stressed out. It's because they're not able to handle all the emotion that's coming in. And it's coming out through diarrhea or constipation. You'll get either or when people are really stressed out. But it's our exit channel.
That is interesting. I have a pain that started like in my arm, and I don't know if it's just from like lifting my son all the time or like how women just like lift every single bag because you only want to make that one trip and it's the biggest grocery bag ever and you put all the heavy stuff in it. But I noticed I've had it now for probably 3 months and I was like, this is so weird that I have it. And then I don't know, I haven't like really thought about it, but it's probably something stored in there.
Yeah, and it could be a lot of different things too when you start to look at your life. Like, repetition. Like it's not a super flexible joint. There's only like this movement you can do with it, right? So if it's
Yeah.
in your elbow, it's like maybe we're bored, maybe it's the repetition, maybe there's fear stuck in it. Like there's so many different things that it could be when you start looking at it for your own personal life experiences and what's come before the elbow thing. Like it's interesting. There could be all these things throughout your past, and then all of a sudden will be the right little will set it off.
Interesting. With that, like, how would you work with a client with that, say, if they were on your table?
So for on our table, I honestly just it's like this is why the client came here. Body, like let's just play and do your thing, see what comes up. And it every single time it's going to look different. You might weave between like, maybe we need a permission to even start this session. Maybe we need to do some general balancing first. Maybe we just need to calm down our nervous system first, maybe a little bit of hydration first. And then all of a sudden you're taken to a few things that happened in your childhood. And then maybe you're taken to the consciousness of, I don't have enough time in life. Like I just am always rushed. I can never finish things, that consciousness of that. Then maybe it's taken to, I don't know, maybe it's this fear, whatever reason fear is coming up when you're talking about the elbow. We're just gonna go with it. It's like the fear, maybe it's the fear like we're losing out. We could be losing out. It's attached to your hand, and maybe there's actually things going on in your hand, but this is the thing that's been building for years. And so maybe we're gripping onto life because we're so afraid of losing out. And it could look like a few different ways.
And then do you get intuitive hits with that? Are you,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So when I sit down with a person, like the session quite often already starts unfolding the moment I touch their arm, and I'm kind of trying to play catch up to like confirm that's what's going on with the session. And sometimes it's doesn't come right away and you go through the protocol chart and you
Oh, okay.
ask the questions.
Okay. I
But I
know
always like confirm that like yes, I'm on the right track. Yes, I'm on the right track as I go along.
I know my husband gets, is it like a shoulder pain or something? And then it's actually to do something with like his hip. So it's not how we would think, like, be like, oh, it's just my shoulder. I should massage that out. But it's like, no, it's actually stored whatever in your hip area, which is across the body. And I never realized that our body isn't linear, I guess. Like it's,
Yeah, that's the shoulder that's reciprocal is the hip. So if when we think of shoulders, we think of like burdens and like what you're carrying, what you're shouldering, things like that. And then when you think of your hip, it's actually like forward movement. When you think of seniors and they break hips, a lot of the times the hip actually breaks before they land on the ground. And it's that fear about life, like moving forwards and all that kind of stuff. It is interesting. Even with your elbow, the reciprocal of the elbow is the opposite knee.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
always to look at that cross body thing.
It is. It's so crazy. I never would have thought of that beforehand. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, he worked on your hip. He's like, yeah. And he's like, I don't know. It works. My shoulder's fine now. And I was like, that is the weirdest thing ever. But it makes sense, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, it's also really interesting too. It's all based on your belief system. So, a story that I like to kind of talk about too is my dad had insane elbow and shoulder pain, but then he got dementia and totally did not have insane elbow and shoulder pain because he had dropped whatever belief system he was functioning from. It no longer affected him, and the pain was gone. He had no memory of it. It just like didn't exist because he no longer functioned from that belief system.
I've never thought of that. We're always so worried about people getting dementia or Alzheimer's, but maybe it's not such a bad thing in that way.
There's like really interesting pieces with dementia. Like I got to kind of play with the I understand how dementia works. Like it's an end of life thing. And so it's like, why not get curious with it? Because I have to be in it anyways. And so it was really interesting when I would work on my dad, I would do bars with him and the dementia would be like kind of gone when I was doing the bars with him because it took him out of a stressed out state into like a meditative state. And then we were able to have normal conversations.
Interesting.
And it was like, oh, your dementia is actually caused from like stress, like unprocessed emotions and stress. And I was like, that's really fascinating. It was so fascinating.
That is
Like,
super.
and like how many other things in our life, if we just dealt with our stress, the illness, the disease, the pain, the ache, it all goes away. What are you holding in from your stress?
Are
What
you,
emotion are you trapping?
are you finding now with the, like everyone always being constantly on that there is more issue?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting. Like you just see more of everything now. And because no one has time to turn off.
right.
And so it's like I don't know anyone that is like saying like I'm in my 30s. I don't know a lot of people in their 30s that are just like, yeah, life's great. I have no issues. which is wild to me. Like, why is that? If I didn't have, comparison everywhere, like, I'd probably be saying, yeah, life's great. I have no issues.
Yes, I hear you on that one. And it's everyone trying to be living, I guess, like the influencers, right? Like you see it. And not that
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with the influencers, like I'm not saying that, but just always that comparison. It's every time you open up any social media app of any sort or the internet or you just go outside now, it's like everyone is trying to be the Joneses.
Yeah. It's subconsciously planting where you're supposed to be in life.
Hmm.
And even when it comes to like health things, like we see everywhere ads directed towards us about the health issues we're supposed to have at the age we are. Well, now you've just invited it in. You've decided somewhere that that's normal. And now it's your belief system that, oh, yeah, you hit a certain age and all of a sudden you can get hurt in your sleep. No, that's a cute belief system that we bought. Or like when you hit a certain age, now you have a bunch of meds to take.
Right. I know I had a guy once say to me, he goes, no, when you reach 40, you're going to be sore and your body's just going to start falling apart. And I was like, no, it's not. And I'm like turning 45 this year. I'm like, my body isn't sore and I'm not falling apart. Like, minus my elbow thing that just happened. But I was like, otherwise, I'm like, no, I'm good. And then he's like, when you get older, you're going to need glasses. I was like, no, no, like it's all like you said, it's a belief thing that we do buy into because we're like, yep, all the old people have glasses. Like, how many people do you see that are old without glasses, right? So you just think that.
Yeah, and that's actually something we talk a lot in Access. Like when I used to facilitate the bars and the facelift classes and things like that, like we have so many belief systems about age, like what we're supposed to be, like what is the milestones at each age. And it happens young and old. There's so many, like say you're like 19, 20, there's so many belief systems about like what you can and can't do in this life. Like you're too young.
Mm-hmm.
You're too young for this. You're too young for that. You're too naive. You don't know enough. You don't have life experience. You don't have this. You don't have that. People won't take you serious. And then all of a sudden you have the other end of it, and it's you're washed up, you're old, you should hurt X, Y, and Z. And so it's like every single age that we're at, we have these beliefs about what we can and can't do, what our body can and can't be. And it's never ending because we every time we go into our phone, we're told.
Yes, that's exactly. It doesn't matter what you do. You open
And
up
it's kind of the same
something.
as like why family members all have the same disease. Like you just think that's what you get.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Your mom had this, so you're going to end up with that. Or your dad had this, so you're going to end up with that. I can see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that people are afraid to feel? And if so, why are they afraid to feel?
I think people are extremely afraid to feel. I think they're extremely afraid. Vulnerability is hard in our society. It's very hard. You have to start acknowledging your truth and you have to start taking accountability for what you do. If you don't feel, you don't have to take accountability for your own life,
Fair enough. I can see that.
and that's hard.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think like I don't know, even as a mom, I just apologize all the time to my son. I'm like, he's sorry. Sorry I yelled. I shouldn't have done that. Like I'm always trying to take accountability so that he can learn up how like to do that when he gets older because I think that's a very valuable lesson to learn. And it's even in the workforce, if something happened, if you made a mistake, just being able to take that accountability is going to have you look better, I guess, with your bosses and they're going to be okay with that mistake than if you're like, no, 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 right? Like they're just going to trust you more.
Like, yeah, like in the workforce, you make a mistake, you own up to it immediately. Okay, you fix it. If you make a mistake, say nothing, and they find out later after something fell apart. Huge issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool shift in parenting that's happening with our generation because we were raised not to feel, not to have emotions. I don't know about you, but my mother never apologized to me for anything, and she still won't. So it's a really interesting shift, and yeah, I want my kid to know that I'm human.
And it's showing that you're human. It's like, hey, I made a mistake. But then it allows them as they grow to say, I made a mistake. And it's okay to make a mistake because now my thought process is I have to be perfect and I can never make that mistake. Otherwise, if I make a mistake, I'm not lovable, right? So then to be able to say, no, you're still loved. You just made a mistake. Let's learn from it. Let's move on. That's a growing opportunity, which
Yeah.
is
And
nice.
and just like the conversations, like communication is such an issue in marriages. Like just atrocious in marriages. And like that's in my office. Between mothering and marriages, like that's a big bulk of my sessions. And it falls apart because we were all raised not to speak our emotions and not to speak our feelings and why maybe we're upset and maybe why we're not talking. And we were never taught to do that. And what does that do to our communication? We're mad over here and we're not speaking about why we're mad. We're just going to be really festering. And we're upset because why aren't you speaking to me? You must hate me. And now you have, you must hate me. And it's just like, no, I'm just irritated about this one thing, but I don't feel safe. Like it's a safe space for me to speak because I never felt like it was a safe space for me to speak. And now you have this like massive miscommunication explosion waiting to happen. And how much better can the relationships be in 20 years from now?
Right. And then even what does that do to your body? What are you holding on to, right?
Yeah. So like teeth grinding and headaches and all sorts of things. Like what is that physically doing over years of holding it in, over years of biting your tongue?
That's so crazy. I know my husband, he's older than myself and he is not able to process emotions, but that's how he grew up. I grew up the same way. We weren't really allowed to have emotion, and that's fine. But when my son would cry when he was an infant, I did not know what to do and I panicked, and it was like I got so stressed out because of his crying. And I know the doctors were like, just leave him in his crib and go outside and take him home. I'm like, no, because that causes more stress in me. And I've had to learn how to just to sit with him, with his emotion, and it is the greatest thing that I've ever learned. And now I can be compassionate. I can give him a hug and I can sit there and help him through it, and it's way less. And then there's my husband who's like, and he's getting all mad, and I was like, okay, well, he's a Pisces, I'm a Cancer, my son's a Pisces, so we're just like emotional all over the place in the house. But that's another story. But I was like, just sit with it. And he's like, I can't deal with it. And I was like, that's your childhood. I'm like, you tell me that you have no childhood trauma, that's your childhood showing up.
Well, yeah, like my husband totally was taught like his survival mode is shut down immediately. And so like when our kids are, acting out, it's like shut down, but then also realizing you're the parent and you're supposed to do something. So he's trying to like fight up against his own shut down. And how do you do that? Right. And, I was told like you weren't supposed to have feelings and have emotions and you need to keep quiet because people don't want to hear it. Be a good girl, be seen, not heard, and not really be seen. Right. And so then you see these kids having these big reactions and it's like, what am I supposed to do? This
Yes,
was not okay. But yeah, there's moments when the tantrums were happening. You're like, okay, what if I didn't function like the wounds that I have? And what if I actually just joined the energy and sat with it? We
exactly.
stopped crying. Cool. Okay. Like I'm no longer in the panic and the stress with him. I'm in a totally different space and all of a sudden everyone just goes,
Exactly. And that's the hardest thing. And the same thing like seeing kids when you're out in the mall and they're having a tantrum. And it used to be like people would just stare and be like, oh my gosh. And you felt like the worst mom ever. Now I'm like, that's okay. You can cry. You can be loud. You can do whatever. And I still just like give him a hug because I know that that's what he's needing in that moment, is to know that he's being loved. And I do that. And it's just amazing how it doesn't last that long. It's
yeah.
dealt with so quickly. He's like, okay. And then yes, we can course correct after, have that conversation once he's calm. But I'm just like, it would have been so nice, not to have people glare at you. Cause I know like I probably was someone too when a kid was doing that. And I was like in my 20s, I'm like, really? Like get a handle on your kid, not understanding kids at that time, right? But yeah, it's nice to know now. It's just like emotions happen. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong. How we handle them is where we need to course correct on that.
And it's super interesting because, like, yeah, I would have had the same thought at 22. It's like, oh man, control your kid. But it's like, where did that thought come from?
Yes,
And it's like, yeah, because we were the let it cry it out group of people. We were the you don't dare do things in front of people. You might get a spank or a slap or whatever it was. And so now, like, when we're older, before we even had kids, it's kind of like, why aren't you controlling that? And it's like, because that's what we were taught. And then all
yes,
of a sudden we had kids and it's like, right, that was like cute. That was cute. No, okay. They have emotions, and now I want my kids to also understand that their emotions are totally valid. I mean, every emotion has a purpose.
yes. I know before I even had my son, I said to my husband once, and this is before I even knew what conscious parenting was, and I said, every emotion that they have, every time they act out anything like that, is an unmet need. And we just have to get curious about what they need. And he kind of looked at me, and I don't even know where that came from. Because, like I said, I didn't even know about conscious parenting. And now I'm like, Oh, I think that's because I just kind of thought of myself as a kid and I was like, I wasn't acting out. I just had an unmet need. Like maybe I just didn't feel love that day or I was really tired. I remember as a kid when I was tired, I would just cry because I didn't know what else to do. And I was like, it was just, I was tired and I didn't know how to say that.
Yeah, I mean, and I remember we had a different daycare, and my youngest was 1.5, not quite two, and he bit kids every once in a while, and which, I mean, is a developmental thing. Every kid bites kids, but it's like the daycare teacher was condemning me, and I was like, well, my kid bites because he doesn't know how to vocalize you're in his space.
Mm-hmm.
When he feels crowded, that's when he would bite. And it's like, I know that, but not everyone else understands that. And it's like, and I saw it, and I knew it because I saw it at our house all the time. It's like he just couldn't handle, he was feeling crowded and he wants you to leave and you're like not listening to his attempts to communicate. And then he gets frustrated and he bites. And that's when he used to bite. And it was, but knowing that saved so much trauma in our house with biting.
Yes, and I think that's the huge part is being able to look at that and see that even as adults, we still have unmet needs and how do we process that? We maybe can't explain everything and there's times like maybe you start a fight because you don't know how else to process that and you're like, "Hey, if we have a fight, that emotion will get out, right?" So,
Yeah. I mean, how many times do fights start just because you're probably hungry?
yeah. Yeah, lots. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Our first camping trip to the mountains, it was me and my husband. We learned very quickly that most of our fights were because we needed a snack.
Or for like me, if we're traveling and I'm getting angry, it's because I really have to go pee. Okay. Like I have to just pull over and let me go pee. I will be nice after that. Or if you wake me up in the middle of the night, I'm not, no, like I'm not my best version in the middle of the night. I will say that.
I feel like my kids knew that and they were really good sleepers as babies because they knew mama doesn't function at 3 a.m.
My son did not learn that. And I had to tell him, I'm like, whatever happens, I'm not my best version. Like, you just gotta, but he's the same way. I'm like, whatever is happening between the time you go to bed to the time you're supposed to wake up, you're not your best version. It's okay.
Like everything about you is telling you you're supposed to be sleeping, and it's like, why am I having to interact with you? Like, piss off, please.
Exactly. What's something that you wish more people understood about healing that isn't talked enough about?
Yeah, there's probably a lot of things. Maybe there's two things. I'll say two things. One, it looks totally different for every single person. And what works for you is not necessarily going to work for your best friend, and vice versa. And we all have different strengths. We all have different baggage. We all have different communication styles. We all have different needs, all that kind of stuff. So just because it works for someone doesn't mean it's going to work for another person. And that goes with anything in healing. Like, I think all modalities have a place in this society. Not every modality is for you in this moment. It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make them less effective. It just means for in this moment, maybe that wasn't what you needed.
Right.
The other thing is that it's not linear. You may be experiencing progress and all of a sudden it feels like you're taking a step backwards and you're not. You're really just looking at something from a different perspective. And that's your opportunity to let go even deeper. And so many times I find people judging themselves when they feel like they're doing really good and they bounce backwards. And I wish so much that people didn't judge themselves when they felt like they bounced backwards because they're not bouncing backwards. It's really like looking at it from another perspective and it's a gift. You're being able to release a little bit more.
I know for me, after like a Reiki or BodyTalk, sometimes what'll happen is I'll have a great session. I feel really good. A day or two later, I am like evil and mad. And it's just like a massive release of all that pent up emotion, whatever I was storing that just needed out. Like sometimes I would just be so angry and mad. And I'd be like, well, that didn't work, but it did work. It's just you have to
Yeah.
release it out somehow.
Yeah, and everyone's a little bit different. Like some people, it's like it comes out right away. Some people, it's a few days. Sometimes for people, it's like a slow unraveling for a few weeks. But it's really normal to feel that heightened emotion at some point in time. That is super normal. And actually, I always tell people that I'm like, if all of a sudden you're like super angry or super sad or whatever it may be, like your emotions coming out, just observe it. Like try really hard not to jump into it because it's coming out for a reason and we don't want to put it back in.
Right.
Yes. Also, like strange cravings happen after a session sometimes. Like sometimes people like crave different things when after a session, and it's like just go hard that day. Your body needs something, go hard.
That's even, I know when I've had access bars done, the lady will be like, have either water, salt, sugar. She's like, something, like you're going to crave something. And I'm not a salty person, but sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, definitely need that salt. And it is because your body's craving that.
Like I don't do sugar at all. I'm a salt lover. I don't do sugar, but when I'm in an Access Bars class of some sorts, I will drink a Coke and it's like, this is crazy. I hate pop. I hate the texture on my teeth. I hate everything about it. And it's like I chug a Coke and it's so weird.
I know that's, I went and took my access with her too. And she had like all this pop there. And she's like, no one had pop. And that was so weird. And it was,
Yeah.
I was, because I was like, I'm like, but I really don't like pop and I don't like how my body feels with it. So I was like, I'll avoid it. But yeah, I was like, probably could have used a pop to be honest with you and just watered it down maybe.
And like it is literally the best drink I could ever have in my entire life is drinking a Coke at like an Access Foundations class. It's wild. And like any other day, it's like, get this away from me.
Yeah.
But I do remember going to my first bars class and I saw the table of junk food. I'm like, what is this class? I was like, are we not here for wellness and health? And then I was like, oh yeah, this is like, yes, you need salt and sugar, but let's trigger everyone with their belief systems about food.
Yes, exactly. For someone that's listening right now who feels overwhelmed or disconnected, what's one simple practice that they can start today?
They're feeling overwhelmed like today. Love gratitude. It does. It changes everything. It's so simple and it's free.
Yes.
I like giving people tools that are free. And it's as simple as whether it's first thing in the morning, like what am I grateful for today? And then at the end of the day, what am I grateful for? And even if it hasn't happened yet, still be grateful for it. If it's something you want, and or even just being like, I'm so grateful for the good news I'm having today, or I'm so grateful for the great day I'm gonna have today, even though the day hasn't happened, but it's just reminding yourself throughout the day of how lucky you are to be on this earth and all the opportunities you have and the interactions you get to have, because sometimes we just dismiss everything because life seems really hard, whether you're in debt or your boss sucks or your coworker is pissing you off, or maybe you had the most annoying fight with your partner, whatever it may be. It's just starting with gratitude. It's free.
I heard once that if you don't like where you are, flip this script and say, so if you're at work and you want a new job because you don't like it, start being grateful for the job that you have now. Because then what's going to happen is you're going to call in that job that you want or that
Yeah.
you're looking for. And it's so backwards because you would think like, oh no, complaining will be better because I'm not happy, but it's not. It's like being grateful, even though you don't like that job, but just being grateful for something in that job that you like.
And it's
And
the same
it'll,
with your body. It's
yeah,
the same with your body. Like people beat up their body. They are so awfully mean to their body. Well, do you think it's going to get any better or do you think it's going to get sicker?
right.
Like the whole diet culture is fed through people hating their bodies. And that's why people just keep cycling back in because it's like you just keep hating. It doesn't matter. You just keep hating your body no matter what. It's like you're overweight and you hate your body, and then you take a magic pill and you lose something, but your skin's flabby, so you still hate it, and then you gain your weight. And it's just, you're never going to have a body that you love and feel confident with if you hate your body. And it's not even just about losing weight. You will feel so much stronger by just saying, I love you, body.
Yes.
I mean, if you just tell your body every single day how much you love it, it's going to feel stronger. It's going to feel more vibrant. It's going to feel more youthful. It's going to feel healthier, like, because you love your body. It's the same with the plant thing. Like, when you have the two plants and you tell your one plant how much you love it every day and the other plant how much you hate it, the one plant's going to die.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And then going back to the gratitude thing, I actually do that with my son every night. So just before he goes to bed, I say 3 things that I'm grateful for. He does. And then my husband does as well. And it is amazing what he comes up with. Like there are times when he's like, I'm grateful for you. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But I'm like, he really is grateful for us. Or today he's like, I'm grateful for the heat. And I was like, that's a good one. Like it was cold today. Yeah, I'm grateful for the heat too. Like he's so simple, but it's the simple things where I think we forget about that too. And we try to look for these grand gestures that we should be grateful for instead of just something as simple as that. Like I'm grateful that we have lights or heat or a house or something.
Yeah, and we forget, like, if I didn't have the furnace, my life would be pretty terrible here in Saskatchewan. It's like, but you forget about that. You just take it for granted. Yeah, sometimes other people around you are so good at reminding you of like the simple things. Like you didn't
Yes,
used to be able to just turn a dial or hit a button and your house would be warm. You used to have to get wood, chop it. Like I am
exactly.
grateful for the furnace technology.
Yes, exactly. Can you please let the listeners know where and what events you have coming up and where they can find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so you can always book a one-on-one session with me either in person or through distance healing. I'm in Saskatoon, so if you're in person, that's great. If not, let's hop on Zoom. That's also a great option. I also do sound baths 2 a month. Usually it's the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday of each month. It's at St. Paul's United Church. It has a beautiful wooden vaulted ceiling, so the acoustics are amazing. The first one is usually some sort of shock related reset, and the second one is the intention is releasing stuck anger and grief because my oh my, we all have a lot of it that we can let go. So I really have honed in on that. And then other than that, I do collaborate a little bit in the city. I do like to collaborate in this Battle of the Bowls thing where a couple of us sound healers get together, and we do a couple of them throughout the year. And so we have lots of different instruments. It's a very immersive experience. There's sound coming at you from all directions, which is really cool. And then I do partner with and do some mummy and me type of healing events as well. So
Nice.
yes. So yeah, there's a few different options. You can find me at Balanced Living. The website's going through a little bit of a rejig and an upgrade. It'll be changing over the few coming months, and then there will be a few other little fun surprises being announced in about a month or two, and so you'll have to stay tuned for that.
No doubt. I always like the surprises. Sound baths, you have to be there in person, obviously. You can't do it over Zoom or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's also a really interesting part too. When I used to have my own office, I did offer a Zoom option because it was really easy for me to set up, and there is a lot of back and forth about the idea of Zoom sound baths, but because I work remotely, it's like you don't even need to be there. I could send you these healing frequencies in a different city. You don't need to hear it. So it's not necessarily about the quality of your sound, it's the intention and the frequency of it. It's going to get to you anyways. A woman once had tuned into my Zoom session and her speaker was missing, and she was like, that was an amazing session. She's like, I heard nothing, but like I felt like a totally different person. So I always think that's really funny when people are like, oh, you can't do it. I'm like, well, you can. So I might bring something like that back in the future again. I just haven't figured out the setup for the church now that I'm doing sessions there. But yeah, but if you wanted a one-on-one sound session over Zoom, we could do that.
I go to some sometimes in Lumsden, and again, it's all wooden, it's a vaulted, oh, it's so amazing. And you start out and it's quiet, and by the time you are done your hour and a half, it's like all the wood is actually creaking from all of the sound. It is so cool. I've been to some other sound baths, but nothing like that one. That is like one of my absolute favorite places to go for it. And every time I'm like, this is so amazing. And it's amazing how sound can heal so much without you even realizing it.
I If you had to ask me what my favorite thing to do is, it's 100% sound. Like I love it. Like people come to a sound bath, it's $35 and people walk out and like, my neck doesn't hurt or my headache's gone or like this is gone. And it's like, yeah, I didn't have to say anything. It's literally everything in our world is frequency. That's
Yes.
it. And I love it. Like the shifts and the changes I see with sound is incredible.
Is there any sound, if someone was to YouTube a sound, like is there a frequency that is like the end all be all type of frequency?
I really think so. Everyone kind of has a different opinion of what that frequency would be.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting because everyone has their thing. Like I know people that love, the 528 or the 741 or whatever it may be. I honestly think it's whatever you need in that day, you're going to find that frequency for you. Because how it works is your body's mimicking that healthy wavelength. And so if something's all bunched and whatever and you play a certain frequency, your body's going to start to mimic that frequency. So it's whatever you need in that moment. You're going to find that frequency when you look for it.
And do you think people should just have frequencies quietly playing in their house?
Yeah, all the time.
And it doesn't have to be loud. Like that's a thing. It could be just so subtle, so quiet that
Yeah,
it
yeah.
does amazing.
Could you imagine the streets if you had like amazing frequency healing music just pumped out in speakers in downtowns.
It'd just be so relaxing and calm.
Be
Yeah.
Everyone would just chill doing their thing.
I think that's the one thing is like we have forgotten how to do that. Like everyone's so busy, so hustled, so everything. And it's just finding these simple things like, as you said, gratitude, even do gratitude and put on a frequency. And YouTube has hundreds and thousands of them. It's so easy. Just type in, I don't know if you want something for, say, chakra healing or, love or whatever. Just type it in and the frequency will come up and just pick one that sounds good.
Exactly. It's just it's all about creating these little rituals in your life, these habits. And that's it. I mean, you don't have to spend, and I'm a huge believer, you do not have to take yourself out of your current life, your current lifestyle to heal. That is not how this is supposed to be done. It's supposed to enhance your current life and not take you out of it. So it's about building these habits, having these moments. And I mean, retreats are absolutely amazing, but if you're not following up the retreat with daily habits, you're losing the benefit of it.
Right.
And so it's all about creating those little moments every day to bring you back to that sweet spot.
I think the calmest I've ever been is before my son, and I would get up at 4 a.m. and people were like, "You're doing what?" I'm like, I get up at 4 a.m. I put in my binaural beats, whatever I wanted to listen to that day, and I journaled for at least an hour. And on weekends, I got like 2-3 hours in before my husband got up, and I was the happiest. I was able to manifest the best. Like it was so great. And then I had a son and I went survival mode. And now I don't get up early. And I keep saying, get up, just get up an hour early. You'll benefit from it. And I'm like, but I really need my sleep. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to.
The advice is really cute until you have children because the moment I get up, they're going to get up. And so then it's a waste.
And I'm like, I don't want him up at 5. So I'll just lay in bed till 6. And then 6 is an okay time. But I was like, I fear that if I get up at 5, he will be up at 5. And I don't, even if he stayed in his room, I don't want to deal with that child that was up at 5, right? So it's just all that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer about the 5 a.m. club when you're a mom. It's a when does it work for you club.
Yeah, I know. And then I was like, just before bed work, but I was like, I don't really want to. Because sometimes when you're journaling, you're letting out really strong emotions. And I room share with him. So I was like, well, I don't want to be doing that in his room just before I'm going to bed and like crying or getting mad. So I was like, this is not working for us, but maybe frequencies. I haven't done that for a while. I did for a bit and I felt like it was irritating him and he was getting to be more anxious so I was like, well, maybe we won't do that. But I was thinking the other day, I was like, maybe we need to bring that in again. See if it'll work.
And maybe it's just a different frequency too, right? Or maybe not so long and shorter bursts. Maybe it's a little too much.
Yeah, because I tried all day. I was like, let's just put the frequency on all day, but maybe shorter would work.
That would be me, be like, we're doing this. And then my kid would be like, no, I'm done.
Well, and too, like when you do work on them, if it's Reiki bars or anything, they don't need as long as adults. So maybe even with frequency, they don't need as long. And it does irritate them. Because I know if I over listen to a frequency, it would irritate me. So
yeah, I do find that like when I get into like a certain thing where it's like I'm listening to one track over and over and over again, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, we're done. Moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today. I've learned so much. I look forward to connecting with you. I really do. I'm so grateful that you said that you do access distantly because that would be huge for me. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was really wonderful. I enjoyed it, and you were a delight to talk to tonight.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for being here. I know it was a bit of a longer episode, so I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Before I let you go, I just want to remind you that if you want to book a session with myself, you may go to elevatedsoulhealing.com. I'll leave the link in the show notes for you. And there you can book for Reiki, and that could be for yourself, your animal, your child, children. You could book for a property clearing. I'm really getting into property clearings right now. If you want to book an Akashic Records read with myself, you may do that as well. It's all up on my website at elevatedsoulhealing.com. If you want to follow me on socials, you can do that if you haven't already. On Facebook, you can find me at Elevated Soul Healing or Elevated for the pod if you want to follow that. And then on Instagram, it's Elevated Soul Healing and then Elevated Pod as well. So I do have 2 different Facebook and Instagram groups, depending if you want to follow just for the pod or if you want to follow my actual Elevated Soul Healing. And if you want to connect with me, you may do so either via my website or by email at elevatedsoulhealing@gmail.com. You can leave a comment as well. You can rate, review, share. I would truly appreciate if you were to do any one of those things. It helps grow my podcast. And one of my goals for 2026 is to grow my podcast. I want more people to be able to listen to it. I want more people to be able to find it. And every time that you rate, every time you review, every time you share, it's pushing my podcast to the top of the list. So it's easier for other people to find it. So I would truly, truly, truly appreciate if you could do that for me. If you've left a comment, trust me, I've read it. I appreciate them so very much. I'm thinking at the end of every podcast, I want to leave you with one question that I would like you to answer in the comments. My question is, what would you like to hear on the podcast, or who would you like to hear as a guest? So you have someone in mind that you think, oh my gosh, this would be such a great person to have on the podcast. Let me know. Or what do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear about? Is there a topic that's burning that you want to know more about? Let me know. I would love to be able to deep dive into those conversations. You let me know what you want. I would truly, truly appreciate that. If you want to be a guest on my podcast, you can connect with me either on my website or you can connect with me via email. Again, I'll have that linked in my show notes. I do have 3 confirmed and booked guests coming up that I have to record with. I'm excited to have these conversations with these ladies because they're all going to be different conversations. Some are going to be on the more spiritual side. Some are going to be more on the natural healing side. I love talking to guests. So again, I thank you so very much for being here today. I thank you for taking the time. I love you and I love doing this. So thank you, thank you, thank you.